Super Bowl MVP Joe Montana took the Bank of America lap of honor in a 1995 Toyota Supra. Crowd loved that.
It goes by the lofty title, The American Dream. But it's also known as the fixer-upper with 1.5 baths, or the new wagon with room for 10. On occasion, it goes by the name, The Orthodontist Said Braces, or both. So if you're Bank of America, you stand by to help with the money, no matter what the dream's called. Even when it answers to Jenny, college freshman, class of 2005. Banking on America. Bank of America.
Look. You know Goodyear tires. Everybody knows Goodyear tires. But did you know that Goodyear retailers have lowered prices? An amazing 25% on some of Goodyear's most popular passenger, light truck, and performance tires. It's true. And other sale prices start as low as $19.99. Believe it. Goodyear. We say they're the best tires in the world. And now you can save like never before. See your Goodyear retailer today, because this sale ends soon.
Toyota has won more off-road championships than anyone. But winning isn't everything. Building better trucks is. So after every race, we take our trucks apart, piece by piece. We look for ways to make them even more powerful, even more durable. Because whether we're building a one-of-a-kind racing machine or your one-and-only truck, at Toyota, our minds are always racing.
So we are still under full course yellow. The Ducati team, the Gallus Racing, they're working on Adrian Fernandez front nose. He got himself in trouble here. We'll take a look at what caused this situation. It was up in the corkscrew. Whoa, he just missed it.
And that was a classic case of understeer. You saw his wheels. Watch the front wheels. Turned, plow straight on. When you push like that, that's what you hear the drivers term as push or understeer. He's lucky he didn't collect that tire wall and do a lot more damage.
All right, so here is the running order after 9 of the 84 laps, with the significant change being the Brian Herta removal from second position. And DeFerrin now had, in fact, before the yellow, been closing right up on the back of Jack Villeneuve. There is the entire order for you. And, of course, you can see by this, too, that Robbie Gordon continues to function all right after that off course early on. Another situation involving Adrian Fernandez. Here we are, green once again.
And to make this scenario very interesting, Gilles DeFerrin on lap 7 set the fastest lap of the race. So right now he has the fastest car out there. He may be a challenger to Villeneuve. Remember what Ganassi said earlier on, or what Brian Herta said. Villeneuve cannot take the type of chances that other drivers can.
Gary, what do you think? Is Villeneuve in trouble?
Well, we just checked with Barry Green, and they're a little bit concerned. Not a major problem, but the car has gone loose. He's got the oversteer situation, and so he's got a bit of a handful. And he said it's nothing, though, that we think we can't live with. They'll try to make an adjustment on his scheduled pit stop, probably sometime after lap 24, between 24 and 29.
Up to the top of the corkscrew, Jan Beekes.
Yes. Paul, when you had that great example that Derek described, the understeer that Adrian Fernandez had, and now we're hearing about oversteer, it turns out that almost all the crews, the majority of those, are calling in on their radio communications saying the cars are getting loose. So watch for that here in the early stages of what we might call phase 2 here before the first round of pit stops. Paul?
All right, watching Jack Villeneuve. Now DeFerrin not making that much headway on him.
Jan, unfortunately, you couldn't see the pictures, but that was not normal understeer that we saw with Fernandez. That was totally out of control understeer that was exaggerated when he went off onto the gravel trap.
Now DeFerrin is able to close just a bit. As we watch this battle, Derek Daly, the comments by Chip Ganassi criticizing his engine program.
Well, that was interesting to me because we have to remember the Newman-Haas team with Michael Andretti and Tracy and the Ganassi team enjoy the Ford factory backing. So they should have all the resources they need to have the best of Ford engines. So that may just G Ford up a little bit to make sure those boys don't have those type of troubles in the future.
Tightest battle in the race course. Andretti, Rahal, Unser Jr., 8th, 9th, and 10th. You ride with Rahal. Remember, that Little Al, trying to pass Ray Hall at Toronto, got in trouble and crashed down in the first turn.
Downhill run. 115 miles an hour. That corner's all going to be different next year. This will not be the racetrack. They're going to redesign this facility, spending a lot of money to update this great racetrack here at Laguna Seca, lengthen the pits. Pit boxes will be longer. They can start more cars. Oh,
look at the braking.
Runs through the tire smoke here.
Al Unser Jr. sitting right on the back end. As a matter of fact, the folks here at Laguna Seca are going to make well over $1 million in improvements to this track. And especially part of the moving of that final turn is going to lengthen the pit lane, and that will allow them to start more cars, because that's actually what limits the number of cars you can start here, is how long your pit lane is. You don't want to jam them in. Remember, we've had some problems here in the past. Remember Johansson's situation a year ago?
Great pictures here of this uphill run.
And there's the corkscrew. Woohoo!
Television pictures do not even do it justice. It is literally a plunge over the side and a straight sheer drop down. And in the early laps, when you come here for the very first time, it is by far and away the most dramatic series of corners any driver has ever faced.
Al Unser Jr. continues to chase Ray Hall in 10th place, Jan Vigas.
Yes, and we've been listening to what Roger Penske has been coaching him along the way, and interestingly enough, they just told him to lean down the engine. They were at 94%, now they're down to 92%. It'll be interesting to see if that shows on the track. Of course, that will take horsepower away from the machine, but it'll save fuel. So they're saving fuel. Obviously, it has to do with their pit strategy. I wonder if they'll still close in on that battle, Paul.
84 laps of scheduled distance, 14 laps complete. We've had 2 yellow flags, full course yellows, during that period of time. Al Unser Jr. continues to work on Ray Hall.
And of course, when you lean the fuel down, sometimes the decision is made because he's stuck behind Ray Hall. So if he's not able to go as fast as his car can run, if he is going to be behind Ray Hall, why not turn the fuel mixture down, put less fuel into the engine? You don't need the extra horsepower because you're stuck behind somebody. You can save the fuel for later. When you're clear on the racetrack by yourself, dump the fuel in, make more horsepower, and go faster.
And leaning the engine down now is not mechanical like it used to be, where you could really turn it too far. It's all chip control.
All electronic, and the telemetry in the pit lane can tell the mechanics and the engineers from Mercedes-Benz if he's done it correctly or not. If not, they radio back to him, or in fact, in Penske's case, they have actually a little message board, digital message board on the steering wheels, should the radio system not work properly. You can see here, Paul, he's clearly faster than Ray Hall, but he can't find a way around. Ray Hall is using a slightly defensive line, as he is entitled to do. This is a fight for position, not anything else.
We're also seeing a bit of buildup off the edge of the line as these soft tires start to shed their rubber. And that, of course, makes it a little more precarious for Little Al to make one of those daring moves when he will dive inside a corner. Not quite as safe here.
See all that sand off line. Regularly you'll see when the cars run right to the edge, it actually sucks some of the dust and sand onto the racetrack. The car following has to run over it. That is why sometimes you get this mishandling imbalance on these racing cars, which makes this track, as Jimmy Vasser told me this morning, the most difficult track IndyCars race on to get consistency.
So the fight continues back here with Bobby Rahal and Al Unser Jr. for 9th, while Jack continues to be the leader of the race, traced by DeFerrin.
Speed Gear presents its latest catalog of officially licensed racing merchandise. Choose from the top names in Formula One and IndyCar: Benetton, Williams-Renault, Newman-Haas, and Rahal Hogan. Drivers including Senna, Schumacher, and Hill, plus Andretti, Tracy, and Gordon. Speed Gear has everything from t-shirts, hats, and jackets to scale models, videos, and hundreds of accessories. Call 1-800-777-1847 for your free catalog from Speed Gear.
You could run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 365 days a year and still not get as fit as you'd become by working out a few minutes a week on the Soloflex muscle machine.
Hi, I'm Tina. This is my baby. I feed her, nurture her, and I guide her. Believe me. At 130 miles an hour, when she starts to whine, I'm a real mother.
Robbie Gordon into the pits, and it is unscheduled. Jan Beekes is there. We'll also listen to the radio, Jan.
Yes, they're planning on making a change up at the front wing. They were trying to get him, the car, to be a little bit tighter. That was a very, very quick stop. This crew is excited. They know they've lost some time in the early laps, but they're hoping they can make that up, Paul.
Stop, that's point 6.
We'll listen carefully now as Derek Walker talks to his driver, gets him back on the staff. That came off of Adrian Fernandez's car as he came sweeping down through the corkscrew.
And now two separate cars have run over it.
And that can damage tires big time.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing cuts tires down worse than sharp-edged carbon fiber, which is what that looked like. So Adrian Fernandez, in the course of 18 laps, has now had 3 separate incidents here at Laguna. He's a busy boy today.
Battle remains at the front of the field. 1, 2, 3. Villeneuve, de Ferran, Teo Fabi, Gary Gerald.
Crew telling Jacques Villeneuve that he's doing very nicely now. He said no mistakes. That's what they're telling Jacques. No mistakes. They just keep pounding the point home. We checked with Jim Hall and Gilles de Ferran. They love the way their car is working. Nice balance. And he says Gilles hasn't said a word to me thus far. Quiet as can be. Focused in that cockpit, doing a heck of a job.
You know what I find interesting, though, Derek? They're running laps at 75 seconds a lap. And that's 4 to 5 seconds off of the qualifying pace.
And from Villeneuve's point of view, it's almost 6 seconds off his qualifying pace. So although these 3 drivers are dominating and controlling the pace here, they're way off the ideal performance these cars can come up with. And I can only tell you it's because the tires begin to give up and they have to be very, very careful. Consistency is what you need to win races, not huge speed for 1 lap and then straight to the pits.
Villeneuve, de Ferran, Teo Fabi, then Mauricio Guzman and Scott Pruitt, the top 5. There's Paul Tracy, 6th position as he climbs the hill.
Paul thought he drove the wheels off this thing. Mind you, I suppose he'd say that anyway, no matter how good or bad he was. But interestingly enough, he starts his test program, and extensive it is, with the Penske team in 2 weeks' time. Tells me before the end of October and November, he will have more test time than he has had all this season. So Tracy will be a busy boy towards the end of this season.
If you try and identify some of the problems at Penske Racing this year, is the fact that Paul Tracy was not there to test part of it?
It's hard to tell. I mean, Tracy is known and recognized as a very good test driver. He is also an extremely fast talent, which tends to push your teammates. But, you know, racing has a habit of going in cycles. One team will not dominate on a regular basis. And we know, and you know, Paul, from past history, Roger Penske's teams go in that cycle also, and they will be back. And Tracy hopes they'll be back with him at the top, because he would like to win the IndyCar Championship.
There comes Bobby Ray Hall with Al Unser Jr. still stuck right to the back end of his car, and then Jimmy Vasser runs in 11th. Al Unser Jr. in a fuel conserve mode now, apparently, as he stays lined up behind Ray Hall because he doesn't have enough of an edge to go ahead and force his way past. So there's no sense in trying lap after lap and wasting the fuel. You'll get some fresh tires here very shortly.
And there's that defensive line, Paul, we saw under braking by Ray Hall. You just move the car offline, maybe 1 car width, and that means the driver that's maybe thinking of making an attempt down the inside suddenly says, no, there is not enough room to do it. I saw a great quote by Ray Hall after Friday. He says, I'm happy to be the fastest ball driver here. And then he realized, no, Fabi has that honor.
Well, I was talking to him about that, and he said, here's Al Unser Jr. as he tries to move to the inside. Now he just lets